Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is our reaction to Michael Carrick's press conference for the Arsenal game. Hopefully his last press conference. I mean, look, I'm not impressed by it, but, you know, I've got nothing against Michael Carrick. I think he's very lucky to still be in post, and I think some of his answers today showed exactly why we need to get Rangnick in as soon as possible. He said that he's not spoken to Rangnick, and that to me, I don't know. I'm hoping that is just publicly. I've not spoken to him privately. He's telling me everything to do, because if he hasn't spoken to him and this is another Carrick team against Arsenal, I just hope the players get the bounce from the fact that we've got a new manager coming in and they're going to impress him, because again, as I said yesterday, I just find it absolutely ridiculous that the man's been in England all week and we haven't actually utilised his skill level. We've basically got YTS people, youth training people, running our football club at the moment, and we've not bothered to have a conversation. Anyway, lots to talk about. I feel that Michael Carrick is out of his depth, to be fair, and I think it's shown again. Probably the shortest press conference I've ever heard. I mean, it literally was over in 5 minutes, and that is just evidence of how... I mean, it's a big game against Arsenal. We didn't get any team news, and I'm sure that's going to come in the embargoed section, but come on. It's Manchester United against Arsenal. It's a big game and we're getting a 5-minute press conference. So, yeah, weird. And some of the answers were a bit off as well about Ronaldo, which we'll get into. But first of all, just want to say big shout out to Boohoo Man, who are sponsoring the show. I know a lot of you clicked the link on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And as always, I'm wearing some of the very latest from the Boohoo Man clothing range. And I'm sure you would agree that I'm looking every inch like Model Bridge. I've got the old tucked in things there. I love the padded chest area. Nice and smooth round here. You could go for a run in it. I'm just going to sit and do a stream. However, if you want to pick up some Christmas gifts for your Secret Santa, or just looking to impress that special someone under the mistletoe this year, then Boohoo Man has everything you need at reasonable prices. In fact, exceptionally reasonable prices. As Boohoo Man are huge fans of the United Stand channel, they're giving the fans watching today a massive 40% off a huge range of clothing items on the Boohoo Man website. All you've got to do is hit the link in the description, use the code United Stand to get that great 40% discount. So what are you waiting for? Hit the link in the description and you could be looking as sexy as me in no time. Well, you can try. Thanks very much to Boohoo Man for supporting the United Stand as ever. And now on with the show. Remember, you can pick up your clothing 40% off through the link in the description, and United Stand as your code. So let's get into this press conference reaction from Michael Carrick. And I suppose the most important area to talk about is Ralph Rangnick. He was asked for an update in relation to Rangnick, and this is what Michael Carrick said. We have got... And also I'll be talking about some transfer news about Timo Werner as well, which I think we need to discuss, because it's coming from Christian Falk, who is German, and so is Timo Werner, and so is Ralph Rangnick. So maybe there's something in it. We'll talk about that in a bit anyway. But Michael Carrick said no update on Ralph Rangnick from what people don't already know. The work permit is still ongoing. I've not had any contact or discussion with him. Effectively, it is the same as it was for Chelsea and Villarreal, with me and my staff running the team. That is a concern. I'm going to sit here and say I'm concerned. When we found out last Thursday that Rangnick was going to be the interim coach, we were talking about maybe he'd have an influence on the Chelsea game. We were certain he'd be in for the Arsenal game. We were certain he'd be training the team from yesterday. This hasn't happened. This is still the Carrick, McKenna and Phelan show. And to be honest, that makes me feel sick, because that's the Solskjaer show. So I'm concerned about tomorrow. Our saviour is that the players know there's a new manager in town and they need to impress. But I tell you what, sit down Donny van der Beek, Eric Bailly and anybody else who thought you might be getting a chance against Arsenal, because it's going to be favourites FC. Maguire comes back in with the armband, Fred and McTominay in the midfield. There ain't going to be, Luke Shaw will be back at left back. It'll be the same old team that Carrick picked with Ollie for the last 3 years. So I don't think we're going to see any changes. I do and am concerned, because I think the concern is not being negative. The concern is being real. We've taken 5 points from 24 under these coaches. Why will it suddenly change against Arsenal? The only reason it's going to change against Arsenal is if these players respond in a way that's like, hi manager, I'm here. Because to be honest with you, I'd be mightily pissed off if I was a Donny van der Beek or an Eric Bailly, because you'd be thinking, this is the new journey, I'm going to get a couple of training sessions, I might get to start against Arsenal. It's another audition for the favourites. Rangnick watches the game tomorrow and watches the favourites, who get another chance to impress. when really we want to see a reset. We wanted to see a reset this week. My team this week, if Ranić had been in, I'd have been hoping that Bailly plays instead of Maguire. I would have been hoping that Donny comes in instead of McTominay. I would have been hoping that Rashford doesn't start and we maybe play a Martial or a Lingard, but none of those things are going to happen because it's going to be the Carrick favouritism, which we've seen for the last 3 years. So we'll see what happens on that. But I mean, look, surely there's got to be a conversation with Ralph Rangnick when he's been here all week. But Carrick is saying no. Mark, did he say Ollie's name in the interview? He didn't. If you said he wouldn't say Ollie's name in the interview, you were right. He didn't. I mean, it might be in the second part. To be fair to people who thought he would say Ollie's name, it was a very, very short interview. What does consultancy mean? Are we assuming a big sphere of influence where he may not get one? Why not board on directors? Why not a full-time role? Potentially get sidelined on big decisions, says Rari. And Amin, thank you very much for the super chat there. I think United have put themselves into a dangerous position with Ralph Rangnick, but it's a good position for us, the fans, because I think if they start acting like idiots and Rangnick walks away, it exposes that club for what we suspect it is, incompetent. So I wouldn't be too worried about Rangnick's consultancy role, because if he's not listened to, he'll walk away. And if he walks away, that exposes what United is and has been for the last 8 years, run by people who don't really know what they're on about. I honestly think Carrick showed a bit of arrogance and not showing any respect for the coming manager, answering as if he is not happy and would have liked to continue as manager. No eagerness to learn, says Pranay. Really interesting that you said that, because that was going to be my next point. I don't think Carrick did come across as very interested in Rangnick. I don't think he did come across as, excited about the revolution and the reset. Now, maybe that's respect to Ollie. Maybe that's genuinely not interested. But he was asked about, what is he, the style of play of Rangnick and what he expects to learn and is it an opportunity, etc. He's still learning, especially the last 10 days. What a load of crap, says Pat. Basically, he said, look, there's certain things you prefer or come natural to you in relation to style of play, but I'm open to learning. I mean, that's not very enthusiastic about Ralph Rangnick, is it? Basically, he was asked, are you looking forward to learning under Ralph Rangnick? To which he replied, you have your own styles, certain things you prefer, but I'm open to learn. I mean, I don't know. And also, he was asked about his own personal experience at Manchester United over the last couple of games he's been in charge, and he said, look, it was adapting to a new challenge, out of my comfort zone, but I've enjoyed the experience. Maybe Carrick thinks he should have got the responsibility. I'm bloody glad he hasn't. I don't want him anywhere near the job. I find, as I said, look, I love Michael Carrick the player, don't know the person, but found his interviews as a player very dull, and find him very dull in a press conference again. And Adam watched the one last week, so actually that's my first one I've really... there was the Villarreal one. But yeah, I just... It feels awkward. I think that's why it was such a short press conference. He is out of his comfort zone by his own admission, and in no way is this like having a pop at Michael Carrick, but this is the Manchester United job. And that press conference was short. We didn't even get any team news. I'm assuming Ralph is aware about problem of midfield, so it does not matter what Carrick plays in midfield. If it's a reset, Ralph will play his midfield, says United Voice. Thanks for Super Chat. Well, I just hope we win this game tomorrow. And I think the chances... Why I'm concerned, before we talk about what Carrick said about Fred and, more importantly, Ronaldo, why I'm concerned about the game tomorrow is you get a new manager in who knows what they're doing, you get an immediate bounce, and that would have happened tomorrow. We're not getting that bounce tomorrow. We're going to get that bounce on Sunday. So we go into this Arsenal game, who are 5 points ahead of us. We cannot afford to lose. But those players have not had a touch point with Rangnick. They've not been trained by Rangnick. They're going to be trained by the same man again, the same people again. I'm hoping they're going to bounce on the enthusiasm and to impress the new manager. But it is a concern that Arsenal come into this game with real consistency. 7 wins in their last 10, 2 draws, only 1 loss. We come into it with 6 losses in our last 8. So the momentum is with Arsenal, and we haven't changed that momentum by getting Rangnick in. Doesn't this make it more confusing he's staying? Club clearly don't believe he's up to it, hence the interim. So why is he here? Why did we stick with him for so long? Ridiculous, says Andrew O'Brien. But no, let me just talk about this. I mean, look. He was asked about Ronaldo, and I've got to be honest, I think I'm going to be in the minority with this, and I don't really care because it's my opinion. And as I said, it's not divisive. It's my opinion. If you're just going to disagree with it, that's all. But I stand by my opinion here. This is why Michael Carrick should not be anywhere near press conferences, because it's like listening to Ollie in his early days. He is out of his comfort zone. He's being asked to speak for the biggest club in the world. So he was asked about Ronaldo and dropping Ronaldo, and he said this. He said, it's been blown up bigger than it actually is. There's lots of reasons not to pick Ronaldo. It wasn't a major decision, and the group took it well. I'm sorry, it's not been blown up out of proportion. It's not. It is a major decision, and it's mightily disrespectful to just say it's not a big decision. It's been blown out of proportion. This is Cristiano Ronaldo. He's on the same level as Lionel Messi. If PSG were playing Man City last week and Messi was on the bench, that would be a big thing. Now, you can agree with Ronaldo not playing that game if you want to, but you cannot come out and say to the world it's not a major decision to drop Ronaldo. It's been blown up out of proportion, and the group were happy with it. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's one of the greatest players that's ever played the game. He's not injured. He's fully fit. To say that this has been blown out of proportion and it's not a major decision is naive at best. It is a big decision when you drop your best player. It doesn't mean you can't do it, but it is. You can't just sweep it under the carpet and say it's normal to drop Cristiano Ronaldo in a game against Chelsea. It wasn't normal. It was a major decision. Everybody's right to have an opinion on it. Ultimately, it didn't really matter. I think Ronaldo would have been running around just like Bruno, not with nothing going on. But it does come out as a little bit naive again to come out and sort of. It's what it is. It's a lack of experience in dealing with the media as a manager of a football club. That's what it is, and that's what United have exposed themselves to by putting Michael Carrick there, because he has basically answered that question and he's took it personally. He's been asked about dropping Ronaldo, and him being the manager who decided to do it has decided to say it's not a big decision, it's not a major decision, it's been blown out of proportion, and we were happy to do it. You've basically answered the question on your own behalf. You haven't answered the question like you should do on behalf of Manchester United and protecting your players. And what you should have said is, look, we got the draw. It was a decision we made. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the greatest players in the world. He's massively important to us, and we're looking forward to the Arsenal game. You answer it in the same way, but you do it in a much better way, where you big up Ronaldo, you big up the club, you big up the result, and you move on from it. I don't agree with saying it's not a big decision, because it is. Of course it's a big decision. Dropping Messi for a big game is a big decision. And it was a big decision. Factos, however you pronounce it. I'm sure he's legally obliged to say there's been no conversation, as United are worried it will be classed as working without a permit if they have, says Kieran Smart. And these selfish coaches essentially knifed Ollie in the back. You expect them to be on board and support Ralph. They all got to go, to be honest, says the Boff man. And doesn't this make it more confusing? We've done that from Andrew O'Brien. The next thing he spoke about was Fred, and I'm going to say something before I react to this. Why is it, and it's not fair to just say Carrick, why is it when Carrick and Ollie get asked about a player they like, they cannot describe what they do as a footballer? So he was asked about Fred and said, Fred's, what's your thoughts on Fred? He's Brazilian. He's a Brazilian international. And Carrick basically said, yeah, it's overlooked that he's a first choice player for Brazil. Well, it's not overlooked. We all know he's a first choice player for Brazil. We all know he plays well for Brazil. It's not overlooked that he's a first choice player for Brazil. It's a fact he's crap for United. That's the problem. You can't big yourself up about Fred because of what he does in a yellow shirt. It's what he does in a red shirt. It's not overlooked that he starts for Brazil and does well. Everybody's fully aware that he starts for Brazil and does well. He doesn't do well in a red shirt. Why doesn't he do well in a red shirt? Because of the coaching. It's as simple as that. So, it's almost like the answer to the question was to sort of go, well, he's a Brazilian international, he deserves more respect. But he's not getting the respect because he's not playing well in a red shirt. You aren't using him properly, basically. That's the problem. He did play well at the weekend, though. And Carrick was asked about Fred. And I'm like waiting for what you're going to get from Klopp, what you're going to get from Tuchel, what we'll hopefully get from Rangnick, what you get from Pep. You know, you get things like, I really like the way Fred anticipates the danger. He's on to a player before they've touched it, and that's why he can intercept the ball like he did last week against Villarreal for Ronaldo to score. I like the fact that when he gets the ball, he's moving it forward. I like the fact that he's got fantastic awareness, and he's a real handful for the opposition to deal because he's constantly biting into the tackle. Tackling, moving the ball. That's basically Fred. I can't start saying his shooting's good. I can't start saying his reading of the game's good. But, you give two good footballing reasons there. He wants to move the ball quickly, and he's good in the tackle, and he's good at, pressing. Three things there. What does Carrick say? The same thing that we always heard from Ollie. He's got a great attitude, he's a good team player, and he wants to play lots of games. And also, he had a bad ankle against Villarreal, and a lot of players wouldn't have carried on, but he did. Whoa, whoop de shit. At the end of the day, can we not just start talking about our footballers because they're footballers? I'm fed up of energy. Like, there actually was an opportunity to speak about Fred's footballing ability. And we still end up talking about his energy, his desire, playing with injuries. Can we start talking about football? I was on about this last night. Like, one of the things I'm really excited about from Rangnick is that we've had 2 or 3 days where we've spoken about tactics and what the team's going to play like. And this has been a problem under Ollie, which obviously Carrick was a part of, where any time you try and find anything out about football, they just start talking about energy and, willingness to play injured. And we're Manchester United. Like, can we actually appreciate the talents of our players beyond the fact that they run around a lot? And as I said, I think there was an opportunity there to speak about Fred as a footballer, and instead we're talking about energy and the fact that he got injured against Villarreal and he wanted to play on. And I know it won't be a lot for many people, but I said this last night, we've had 3 years of this. 3 years of, McTominay and Fred, trust, passion and desire. I mean, there were leaks coming out last week about Solskjaer's team talks and what he was writing on the board, and it was things like enjoy yourself, passion, trust and desire. We've now got a manager, like a lot of Premier League managers, who are going to rub that out and actually start talking about positional sense, how high you're going to press, what to do with the ball and not to pass it backwards and things like that. We need to move into that world and away from passion and energy and desire, because the reality is you're going to need passion, energy and desire to bloody press the way that Rangnick wants you to anyway. So forget talking about passion, energy and desire, and let's talk about actual football. That's what we need to see. So yeah, that was basically his press conference. He spoke a little bit about what he's learnt over the last couple of games. He spoke about Rangnick and saying that he's not spoken to him. He spoke about dropping Ronaldo and saying it was blown out of proportion. It wasn't such a big deal. He spoke about what's he going to do, what's it like to learn from a new manager, to which he said, well, I basically have my own ideas, but I'm always open to learn. And then he spoke about Fred, who he said is all about energy. And that was it. We didn't get any team news. We didn't get any discussion about Arsenal. We didn't get any discussion about the enormity of the game. It was a bland interview, and I'm very surprised we didn't get a question. The first question should have been, you're 5 points behind Arsenal. You could be mid-table if you get a bad result tomorrow. How important is it to go and win that game tomorrow? That's the question I want. I want a bit of passion. And at the end of the day, it was like I don't know what it was. It just wasn't very inspiring. And I think I'm just hoping that the players aren't reflected of that press conference. We need some. I don't want to use the word passion. We need some drive in that team tomorrow. We need to be on the front foot. We need to move the ball quicker. We need a high tempo. We know what the Old Trafford crowd's like. It will react to it. Now, I've heard people saying they're worried. Carrick's still in charge. The Ollie banner's going to go round. The atmosphere could be quite sombre before we've even kicked off. It could feel like a bit of a, memorial show. Obviously not a memorial in that sense, but you know what I mean. It's like, remembering Ollie's time in charge. And that could impact the players if we're not careful. So we need to be... it definitely came across in that press conference that we're still clinging on to the past. You know, Carrick, when asked about Ranić, saying that, you know, if there's certain things you prefer and styles you prefer, but I'm open to learning. You know, really, I think we should have been biting, you know, embracing the new world, you know, enthusiastically, because that new world's coming. There's no point lamenting about the past. The new world is coming, and the players need to feel that new world. And I'd love to be a fly on the wall for what's gone on in training in the last couple of days. I'd love to know what the buzz is in training. Is it just, well, you know, because it could be very dangerous. You know, there could be an injection of excitement, and it could feel like change, or it could be, these are the last 2 days you've got us, lads. You know, please get us a result. It's our last 2 days. You know, and you're still trundling on from the Ollie world. So it's going to be very interesting tomorrow. I can't predict what's going to happen. I'm hoping we're going to get a load of players wanting to impress the new manager, full of energy. I've done it myself now. Not energy, high tempo. But on the other hand, we could just get another United performance that we've seen against our Liverpool and Man City in our last couple of home games. So, you know, where we're poor and we're wide open and the heads are down. It's a dangerous game tomorrow. I really am going to go with a 2-1 win, but it's very difficult to predict. I hope Ralph is in for Palace and he can get his coaches in quick. Mark, do the United Stand merch ship to South Africa? Herrera would be so good. So Sihan, we do ship worldwide. Quite concerned that there hasn't been any news of the staff that he's bringing in. Hopefully they aren't forcing this inexperienced staff on Ralph, says Dan. Look, you know what? I've got to be honest. I've been very, very positive for the last week. Maybe it's just the after effects of that press conference, but I actually feel a little bit concerned now. I am starting to think, do you trust United? And, you know, most United fans say that you can't trust United under the Glazers, because I'm starting to think, is this all a bit of a con job? Is this Ranić on his own, supplemented by the normal coaches that should have gone with Ollie? Or has he got the power to bring his own people in? Because if it's Ranić on his own, I don't think one man can solve the playing problems, the coaching problems, and the Woodward problem. So I am a little bit concerned, but things can change and move very, very quickly. Of course they can, but I am a little bit concerned about the sort of world that we're operating in. I mean, I saw something today about the transfer panel. They're mentioning Kieran Trippier again, and I saw something about a transfer panel of which Ranić will now be part of, but Mike Phelan is still on it. Why is Mike Phelan on a transfer panel for Manchester United? I don't even know why we brought him back, really. You know, he doesn't coach. I think we brought him from Australia. I think he got relegated by Hull and then he went to Australia. I mean, what is his European football knowledge to be on a transfer panel? I don't know. It's like Carrick doesn't know he's part of the problem, which is frightening, says Jack Birtles. Let me just have a quick look. Somebody's just saying there's been some updates on Twitter, so let's have a quick look there. Ranić has been at Old Trafford, which we know, walking around the pitch. Yeah, we know that one. That's not really the update I was looking at. He's been with John Murtagh at Old Trafford today. Yeah, but he's not at Carrington, is he? Apparently Saka's got to pass a late fitness test with Arsenal tomorrow. Yeah, we can always well, I don't wish any injury on anyone, but yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. But yeah, so Ralph Ranić at Old Trafford. But of course, Manchester United train at Carrington. Manchester United players don't really go to Old Trafford apart from to play matches. So, you know, Carrington is where the things go. Hi Mark, great show. Please call my friend Ralph a Pratt, says Alex. There you go. So just a few things I wanted to bring you as well, away from the press conference, luckily, because there's nothing much more to say about the press conference, but a few bits on transfers. Just a reminder, actually, there's a lot of Premier League games tonight. Liverpool are playing Everton at 8:15. Man City are playing Everton. So we're not going to do an 8 o'clock show tonight. We're going to do a 7 o'clock show because I'm sure a lot of you will want to watch those matches. So we thought we'll be appreciative of that, and we'll just move the 8 o'clock show to 7 o'clock. So that's one bit of news. But back onto to Manchester United. Christian Falk, who is a German journalist and has been very accurate about German transfers in the past, specifically up in Meccano, Bellingham, Haaland, Werner. He's linked Manchester United to Werner today. Now, don't worry, as I said on Twitter, even if United want to sign him, he'll miss the contract when he signs it. But the reality is, jokes apart, I don't mind Timo Werner. I wanted United to sign Timo Werner. I think he's got a bad reputation for missing chances, but I don't think he's a bad footballer. But I really don't think Man United would... I don't know why Christian Falk would report that. I really don't. I mean, we're not going to get a Chelsea player like Timo Werner coming to Manchester United. I mean, then, you know, the last time we did a deal like that was Mata, and I think that was just Mourinho trying to get a bit of money. I don't see Tuchel letting Rangnick have a German player like Werner that he likes. So I don't see that. I don't know why that's been linked to us, but, you know, it's one to keep an eye on, I suppose. London reports are saying that West Ham are very much still interested in Jesse Lingard. I mean, ideally that would happen, but of course I think Lingard again is going to think he's got a chance under a new manager, so we might have to wait and see with that one, and maybe he'll see out the season with United and then, you know, decide on his contract in the summer. Hi Mark, do you think Carrick and McKenna will be adamant in their way of coaching even if Rangnick joins the coaching team? Well, I don't know what that means, Sky, but ultimately what you're basically saying, I think, is that Rangnick comes in and say we're playing high-pressing football, and Carrick and McKenna say no, we've got to play more defensive, in which case they'll be out. If he doesn't want to learn or not interested in doing so, why is Carrick staying as United hedging their bets, says Andrew O'Brien. Hi Mark, on the United standstill there is no option for shipping to South Africa, says Mr. Nobody, for some reason. Okay, maybe we don't then. I thought we did ship worldwide. Conte has been Spurs manager for over a month now. If we had acted then, Rangnick would have had a month to implement his style. Points wasted by the board, said Aaron. Yeah, and can I just say as well, I've said this before and I want to make it very, very clear. If we lose the game tomorrow, it's not on Michael Carrick. We might lose the game tomorrow because it's still the same coaching team that Ollie had. But if we lose tomorrow or we draw tomorrow and we drop points tomorrow, it's on the board. They should have sacked Ollie in the international break and given themselves another 3 weeks to sort this out. So there is no way we should still have Carrick in charge for that game tomorrow. And it is a big risk. I'm hoping we'll still get the result. But, you know, to be honest with you, if Rangnick had been in charge and training the team from Tuesday, I'd be 70% sure that we were going to win the game. 20% draw, 10% loss. Arsenal fans moan about it. I know what happens when you get a bounce from a new manager. So I think there was a very good chance we would have won tomorrow with Rangnick. With Carrick and no touch point from Rangnick, I would say the chances of winning that game have probably come down to about 40%. And actually probably 35% chance of winning it. 35%, no, probably 45% draw, which leaves 20% Arsenal win. Because their away record's not actually that good. But, you know, it's massively come down from what it would have been. So it's on the board. It's not on Carrick. It's not on Rangnick. They can't do anything about the situation they're in. To Jay Spencer, all the best and hope you're on your next job soon. Shout out Jay Spencer from Mott. And Romano said Ralph will be allowed to bring some staff. Romano said Ralph will be allowed to bring some staff members. Good, Daniel Kirk. That is good to hear. I will be on Twitch at 3 o'clock. Yeah, I've just got to cook some dinner first. So, yeah, basically I didn't need to do the percentages. The reality is that there's been a big drop in my confidence of us winning this game to with Rangnick compared to Carrick. But I think that's natural. And look, there's nothing I want more than tomorrow night to be going, get in, well done Carrick, go back to the coaching staff, you've done a good job. I do feel sorry for Carrick. I do. I know he's enjoying the role, and I know some of his answers today were poor, but I do feel sorry for him because it's a high pressure game tomorrow. You know, I thought we were lucky against Chelsea on reflection. We deserved it against Villarreal because they didn't take their chances. But you know, Arsenal tomorrow, there's a lot on it. There's a hell of a lot on it. Also, just a quick one about, I just wanted to bring in Young Boys. The game next Wednesday is going to be at Old Trafford. I know a lot of people, maybe some of you, were going to go to that game. Easy to get tickets now that we've qualified. There was talk of it being on a neutral ground. It will be played at Old Trafford. I think it will be a good game to watch as well, because I think we'll see a lot of the fringe players playing, but we'll also be trained by Rangnick, so I think we'll see a different style of football. So looking forward to seeing that. Looking forward to the Palace game as well. Just want to give a shout out to Ethan Laird as well. He's absolutely tearing it up at, I think he's at Swansea, isn't he? So absolutely tearing it up. Somebody messaged me about it today. I don't really keep an eye on the Championship apart from my Twitch career, and I don't know whether he's on that for Swansea, but he's doing really well. I think he's created most chances for Swansea, and he's playing as a right wing back. Really, really doing well, which is interesting when we get linked to Trippier, because I think that, we've got Wan-Bissaka, Laird, Dalot, it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But, also we spoke about Lamptey yesterday. I personally don't want us to get Kieran Trippier. I'm not a massive fan of Kieran Trippier. I think he's an okay right back, and I've never thought he was very good. Spurs, okay. Atletico Madrid, okay. England, okay. He's never been a right back that I go, he's in the same category as a Reece James or a Trent Alexander-Arnold or even a Kyle Walker. So, and he's 31 next. So I would much rather we were looking longer term for Laird or Lamptey or, Dalot. Maybe Delot's not going to be the man. Someone mentioned Brendan Williams there as well. He's doing well at Norwich. So look, there's opportunities for people definitely to get back involved in the team. And I'm excited, but I think unfortunately the way I describe it is we've got one more hurdle to jump before the reset, haven't we? I mean, that's the best. That's the thing, isn't it? It's like, we thought Christmas Day was going to be tomorrow. It's actually now on Sunday. So we've just got a few more days to get through. Unfortunately, it's a big game tomorrow. And I think we just can't be thinking about losing that game. I mean, we need to win it. I think a draw will be a bad result in the context of it would be 6 points from 27. I mean, that's terrible, isn't it? We're on 5 points out of 24 at the moment. If we drew tomorrow, it would be 6 out of 27. That's whatever way you dress it up, a draw is not good enough. And I don't want people to say, well, it's not Carrick's fault. Carrick was part of the coaching team that Ollie was with. You can't say I've come in after Ollie, and I think there is that perception a little bit that, well, Carrick's done a good job since he's took over. We beat Villarreal and we drew with Chelsea, but he hasn't really taken over anything. He's been here for 3 years. He's part of the problem. And if we draw tomorrow, that's way better than losing, but it's still 6 points from 27. We've got to win tomorrow. Let's win tomorrow. That's what we need to do. Win tomorrow, and then let's start the revolution at Manchester United. That's what needs to happen. Tom said, you just said it won't be Carrick's fault, says Tom. Tom's a bit thick. He doesn't understand strands of conversations. What I basically said is if we lose tomorrow night, it won't be Carrick's fault because he shouldn't be in charge. We should have a new manager in. That's a helicopter view of the problem. The board should have sacked Ollie in the international break. What I then said is if we draw tomorrow, it's not a good result. I didn't say it's Carrick's fault if we draw tomorrow. I didn't say, well, ultimately, technically it is because he's picking the team. But what I'm saying is he shouldn't even be in charge tomorrow. So if you can't understand this level of conversation, there are other channels you can go and listen to. Talk Sport's a good way, just a good place to start. Normally on the morning show. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Tom, it's a bit of banter, don't take it seriously. I will be on Twitch just after 3 o'clock with my United Stand FC career mode. It's going well. You should be watching this and supporting it. It's the United Stand. It's the first ever FIFA career mode with United Stand in it, and Goldbridge is playing up front, so we need some goals in that. But we will be back at 7 o'clock tonight. We've got a show then, and actually after that, I'll be on That's Football doing watch-alongs for Man City Villa, Liverpool Everton, and also Chelsea Watford. I'll have all of them on because it's Amazon Prime, so you can watch them all at the same time. So I'll be on That's Football from 8 o'clock, but 7 o'clock on here for the latest, and obviously we'll see what happens tomorrow. Thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. Big shout out to Boohoo Man. Obviously I'm modelling it here. 40% off with the code United Stand in the link in the video description. Get yourself something from Secret Santa, get yourself something to get fit, something for Christmas. I'd advise getting something like this. The padding on the chest really keeps me warm, and I like the sort of Dennis Law sort of things going on there. So thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all in a bit.